Welcome to Winnie's Glam TV. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. We'd love to know where you're watching from, so drop a comment and let us know. At first, it was just a shadow, a silhouette that seemed to materialize from the very darkness itself. The figure stood motionless, its outline indistinct, as if it were part of the night itself. Chinonso's breath caught in his throat as the whisper came again, this time so close it felt like it was inside his mind. Chinonso, come to me. His instinct screamed at him to run, to flee back to the safety of the village, but his legs felt frozen in place, rooted to the spot by an unseen force. The figure began to move slowly toward him, its form shifting, contorting, as if it could never settle into one shape. Its arms elongated unnaturally, fingers stretching like branches reaching out from the darkness. The air grew colder with each step the figure took, and the once gentle wind now carried a suffocating weight, as if the very atmosphere was pressing down on him. Chinonso, you cannot escape me, the voice echoed again, now unmistakably menacing. It was no longer a whisper, it was a deep, guttural sound, as if coming from the depths of a cavern, distorted and full of malice. Chinonso turned and fled, his feet slipping on the loose soil as he sprinted back toward the village. But the thing behind him was faster, too fast. He could hear it now, a strange, hollow sound like the rustling of dead leaves, chasing after him, gaining with every step. As he ran, the path seemed to stretch on endlessly, the trees around him twisting and warping, closing in as if they were alive and trying to trap him. He glanced over his shoulder, and for a brief second, he saw the creature's shape darting through the darkness, its glowing eyes fixated on him. Chinonso, you cannot run from me. You are mine, the voice whispered again, and this time it was almost low. Chinonso tried to scream, but the air was stolen from his lungs. As his body was dragged backward into the suffocating darkness, he felt the chill of death wrapping around him. The last thing he saw was the yellow glow of those eyes, and the twisted grin of a creature long lost to vengeance and hatred. The next morning, when the villagers ventured out to search for Chinonso, they found nothing but a broken, bloodied path leading into the forest. No sign of him remained, save for the faintest echo of a whisper on the wind. Months passed, and the village lived in a cloud of fear. The elders warned the young ones to stay inside at night, and the whispers of ogbu NWA grew louder. But one evening, when the moon was high and the air thick with the promise of another dark night, a girl named Ada, barely 18, walked into the village. Ada had grown up in a neighboring town, but she had come to visit her family after hearing of the strange happenings in the village. She was strong-willed, confident, and, like Chinonso, skeptical of the old legends. When she learned of Chinonso's disappearance, she couldn't believe it. A spirit, taking people. It seemed like an old story meant to frighten children. But soon, the villagers told her about ogbu NWA, the spirit that consumed souls, one by one. Ada's resolve hardened. She had grown up with stories of bravery and defiance, of fighting back against the darkness. And she wasn't going to let fear rule her. That night, with the village asleep and the moon hidden behind thick clouds, Ada ventured into the forest. She had heard the whisper that night, just like Chinonso, just like the others before him. The voice called her name, but this time, Ada did not hesitate. Her heart raced, but she refused to turn back. If ogbu NWA truly existed, she would confront it. As she ventured deeper into the forest, the air grew colder, and the whispers started again, soft and almost seductive at first, as if calling her to her doom. Ada, come to me. The voice came from all around her, as though the very trees themselves were speaking. She pushed forward, her hands clenched into fists at her sides. I am not afraid of you, Ada muttered, the words firm on her lips. And then, like a dark storm from the depths of hell, it appeared, the creature, Ogbu NWA. Its form was a writhing mass of shadows, constantly shifting, an amalgamation of every fear and nightmare the villagers had ever known. Its yellow eyes gleamed in the dark, and its mouth opened wide, dripping with darkness. Ada, you cannot fight what you do not understand. Ada stood firm, her breath steady. She had no machete, no weapon, only her will. But she had something more powerful than fear, faith. Faith in herself, faith in the strength of her ancestors who had fought against wars. You are wrong, she shouted, taking a deep breath. I understand you perfectly. You thrive on fear, but I refuse to give you mine. With all the strength she could muster, Ada stepped forward, her eyes locked on the spirit. As it lunged toward her, its hands outstretched, Ada did something that shocked even herself. She shouted with every ounce of her being, a scream filled not with terror, but with defiance, with strength. The force of her voice caused the creature to falter, to hesitate, just for a moment. Ada seized the opportunity and pressed forward, pulling something from deep within her, a power older than fear, older than the spirit itself. As her feet moved, she chanted an ancient incantation she had learned from her grandmother, words that were meant to banish evil, words that were meant to weaken the shadows. The creature recoiled, its form flickering, struggling against the power of the chant. The air around Ada became thick with light, and for a brief moment, the forest was bathed in a warm glow. But the creature was too strong. Just as Ada felt the darkness recede, it surged forward, grabbing her by the arms, dragging her toward the shadows. You cannot defeat me, it roared, its voice splitting the air. Ada fought, but she could feel her strength waning. And then, with one final, defiant cry, she let go of the chant. She knew what had to be done. With the last of her energy, she drew the power deep within her, pulling the spirit toward her, sacrificing herself to bind the darkness forever. The village awoke the next morning to a strange stillness. The air was heavy but calm. The trees were quiet. Ada was gone, but in her place, the curse had lifted. The elders came, and they found Ada's body in the forest. Her face was peaceful, as if she had found peace in her final moment. The village was safe. Ogbu NWA had been banished, bound by the sacrifice of a brave soul who had not yielded to fear. Ada's name was spoken in reverence. Her courage became a part of the village's story, a tale passed down from generation to generation. And though the darkness still loomed in the world beyond, the village knew that sometimes, even in the face of death, there was light to be found.